Okay, starting off with the pattern. The pattern consists of lots and lots of rectangles. Here we have the back part, the front part, and also the sleeves. Don't forget to make 2 sleeves, and each rectangle is 15 times 13 centimeters. And these are the total squares that I made with the colors. There were 54 squares in total. And this is the finished product with all of its measurements. Feel free to screenshot this part. Now for materials. The first material you need is yarn. Lots and lots of yarn. In total, I used around 17 balls of yarn with the colors as you can see on the screen. Here are the characteristics of the yarn I used and the yarn itself. What you need next are these crochet clips, some scissors, measurement tape, and also the crochet hook itself. I used the 4.5mm size hook. Now when you have all of your materials, the next part is making the patches, which took the longest time ever. The first pattern I used was single crochet, and I used the color brown for this. Now what you want to do first is to make this starting loop for the foundation chain. If you have a hard time trying to do this, I suggest you to look at other tutorials before starting this, but I swear if you just follow this video, it's super easy, nothing too much. And you want to make sure that you keep kind of a long end as I showed previously because it will be easier to sew later on. Now you want to put in your hook just like that and make sure that the loop right there isn't too tight but also isn't too loose. Now what you want to do is make a chain just like that. Easy. First chain right there. Second chain, and you want to keep on chaining until you get around 15 centimeters to make the rectangle we saw in the beginning. Now when you have that, you want to add 1 extra chain so you can work in the single crochet. To do the single crochet, you want to go to the second chain. So you want to put your hook into the second chain right there. Just like that. But instead of putting it into that part of the chain, what I like doing is flipping over the foundation chain and putting it into the back part of the chain, as you can see right there. So still going on to the second chain, you want to put in your hook directly into that part of the chain. Yarn over, go through 1 loop, then yarn over and go through both of the loops. And there you have your first single crochet. Let's do that one more time. You put it into the chain, then you yarn over, go through 1, and yarn over and go through both of the last chains. And you want to keep on doing this until you finish the first row. And there you have it, your first row of single crochets. I know it looks kind of weird, but it's going to go right in the end. Now here, I finished the whole row, and what you want to do when you finish the row is to add another chain, and you want to flip over your project because you want to work from right to left. Now as you can see, that's the first and second chain right there. That's the second one. Now usually you put it into the second one, but what I like to do is put it into the very first one right there to get really straight edges later on. So same as the previous part, you just want to go into the chain, yarn over, go through that, and yarn over and go through the rest of the loops. And there you have your second row of single crochets. You just want to keep on doing that, keep on single crocheting until you get your patch. Ta-da! Now for the second pattern, I used half double crochet for two colors, which were red and dark brown. Same as the previous, you want to make a row of chains around 15 centimeters, just like that. And for half double crochet, you want to add 2 additional chains. So that's 1 and another 1. And you want to flip the foundation chain to get the back chains. You want to yarn over and go into the third chain. So that's 1, 2, and 3. You want to go into the third chain. So put your crochet hook into the third chain. So you have 3 loops. You want to yarn over, go through the first loop, then yarn over and go through all of the 3 loops. And there you have your first half double crochet. Let's do that one more time. So yarn over, go to the next loop right next to it. Yarn over, go through 1, and yarn over and go through all 3. And you want to keep on doing that until you get your first row of half double crochets. Just like that. And I left the last one there undone, so let's do it. Okay, now what you want to do is add 2 chains, 1 and 2. And then you want to flip your project and work on the second row. Same as this single crochet, you want to go into the very first chain right there. So you go through, then yarn over, go through 1 loop, and yarn over, go through all 3. Then there you have your second row of half double crochets. I did the same exact thing for the dark brown colored yarn. So I had 2 colors of half double crochets. And these are the finished products. I love the half double crochet. It just looks so beautiful and so neat. So the next pattern I used was double crochet for the colors cream and gray. Same as the previous patterns, you want to make a foundation chain, which is around 15 centimeters. There you have your foundation chain, and for double crochet you want to add 3 more chains. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Then you want to yarn over and then flip the chain to get the back part of the chain and put your hook into the 4th chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Go through that, yarn over, go through 1, yarn over, go through 2, and then yarn over and go through the last 2. There you have your first double crochet. Let's do that again. So yarn over and go into the next chain right there. So you have 3 loops. Yarn over, go through 1. Yarn over, go through 2. Then yarn over and go through the last 2. And that's your second double crochet. You want to keep on doing this until you finish your first row. It's supposed to look something like that. So there I left 1 chain undone, so let's finish that really quickly. Okay, after you finish the first row or whatever row you're on, you want to work up. So what you want to do is add 2 chains and then flip your project. Then you want to yarn over and go through that first chain right there. Yarn over, go through 1, yarn over, go through 2, then yarn over and go through the last 2. So it's basically the same. And you want to keep on doing that until you get your second row. Now here is the end of the second row, but here I left the last chain undone because it's kind of different. So what you want to do is yarn over, go through that last chain, yarn over, go through 1, yarn over, go through 2. Then what you want to do is take that yarn and then go back into that chain. Right there, you want to yarn over, go through 1. So now you have 4 loops. Yarn over, go through 2. Then yarn over and go through all 3. And you want that to be the end of all of the rows aside from the first row. So there you'll get a really nice straight edge. Then for the next row, it's just the same. You want to add 2 chains, flip the project over, and double crochet as per usual. I did the same exact thing for the cream color, just like that. Nothing different, all the same, all double crochets. And there you have your patches of double crochets. It is looser than the single crochet and the half double crochet, but don't worry, it is supposed to look like that. Moving on to sewing everything together. Now don't get me wrong, I did not record this part, so here I have prototypes of what it's supposed to look like. So imagine these are the 2 patches that we need to sew together. You can use that ending part of the patches to sew the 2 patches together, but I chose to use just a different yarn. So what you want to do is make that loop, the same loop on how we started all of the crochet patterns. Then for the 2 patches, you want to kind of stack them together before working on them. Just like that. Stack them like a sandwich. Now, I recorded this part wrong. Do not go through that middle part. It's better to go like straight directly through the yellow or whatever color patch you're using. Anyways, so what you want to do is yarn over and make a slip stitch, which means that you just go directly through all of the loops. So you go in through both of those patches, yarn over, go through both of those patches, and go through the initial loop, if that makes sense. And you want to keep on doing that until the end of the patches, and you want to use this technique to sew all of your patches together. You can use other techniques, but to me this was the quickest, the easiest, and the neatest. Now it's supposed to look like this, so you will have that line over there, but no problem, it's going to be in the inside, and your 2 sewn patches would look like this. So here are the parts that you're supposed to sew together. You have the arms, the sleeves, and the back and the front part. And these red lines are where you're supposed to slip stitch them, or whatever technique you want to use to sew your patches together. Now here is the part of stitching the sleeve to the body part, which is slightly different. I know that's a sock, but imagine that sock being the sleeve and that right part being the body part of the cardigan. So for the body part, you want to flip it inside out. So you're working that inside part outside. Anyways, then you want to put your sleeve into that inside out part of the body part. So you have something like this right there. Now then you just need to slip stitch all around the arm part. When you're done slip stitching, you just need to flip the body part inside out again, and you'll have a nice, neat arm and body part sewn together. Now for the cuffs and ribbing. For the cuffs and ribbing, you want to use the half double crochet pattern. You can use any other pattern, but I chose that. And you want to work 10 chains, or it depends on how long you want your ribbing to be. After that, you want to just finish the first row as per usual, and then at the end add 2 chains, flip the project, and you want to work through only the back chain of the chains, if that makes sense. So if you see there are like 2 chains right there, and you want to work through only the back chain. So that's the front chain, back chain, and you want to work only on the back chain. This will create that wavy effect of the ribbing you see on lots of sweaters. For the last chain, instead of going through the back chain, just go through both of the chains as per usual. This way it will just make a really nice firm ending for all of the rows. You want to keep on making new rows until you have your desired length. It depends on what size you want your cardigan to be. And at the end, just cut your yarn. You want to make sure that you cut quite a long length of yarn at the end, and then you just want to chain one and then go over it. Now for cuffs, you want to sew the edges together, and it's best to use just a needle and also use the ending yarn of the crochet. Now for sewing the ribbing to the body part. So let's just pretend that that's the ribbing, the red part, and the body part is the top part. Now you want to just use a needle and yarn. So you want to go through the very edge of the ribbing right there, and make sure that it's knotted really well so it won't come off. So I just made a knot right there. I'm not sure how you're supposed to do it, but that's what I did. So when you have your yarn and needle on, you want to start sewing. And what you want to do is to go into the very edge of the body part. Then after that, when you sew back into the ribbing, you want to go right next to the previous stitch. So when you go back into the body part, you want to make sure you go kind of further than the previous stitch, probably around 1/2 to 1 centimeter away. Then you want to make sure it's nice and tight. And you just want to keep on doing that. So you go near for the ribbing and slightly further for the body part. So it will look like something like this. You'll have somewhat of a crippling effect right there. And you want to keep on doing that and make sure that you end with the very edge of the body part and the very edge of the ribbing. Now for the collar and the button band. So it's supposed to look like this. So there you have the collar and there you have the button band. So the collar is basically just lots of rows of single crochet all around the neck part. And same goes for the button band, only it's really long. And there you have your buttonholes too. Okay, so now let's start making those rows of single crochets for the button band and also the collar. So firstly, you want to insert your crochet hook at the very edge of the button band or the collar. Then you want to yarn over and go through that part you put in your hook into. Then you want to chain 1. Then you'll have that long tail at the end, but don't worry, we'll just crochet over it. So what you want to do now is do single crochets. So you want to put in your hook into the next chain, right there. Then you want to yarn over, go through that, and yarn over and go through both holes, just as a usual single crochet. So again, you want to put in your hook into the next chain, then you want to yarn over, go through that, and yarn over and go through both holes. And you want to keep doing this until the end of your button band and the end of your collar. And there you have your first row of single crochets. Now let's say we want to move up. We want to work up. So what you want to do first is to chain 1. Then you want to flip your project over and then just do single crochets as per usual. Now let's say we want to make a buttonhole. So what you want to do is chain 3. And after that, you want to work into the 4th chain from that part. So that's 1, 2, 3, and you want to go into the next one right there. So you want to put in your crochet hook, yarn over, go through that, then yarn over and go through all of the loops. And there you have your buttonhole.